Give it to the tall guy.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Smrack. This is Mars here. Say what's up, guys.
What's going on?
Ready, rock.
Hey, today we're discussing Zack Snyder's top movie, Rebel Moon, that he just dropped on Netflix. I mean, it is something that have been expecting for years after his departure from the DCEU, and now it's finally out. And we're here to review it. Are you guys ready to burn?
Well, he didn't. He had a bunch of things post DC that have been on Netflix.
We,
This is
we've
like
been
the
expecting
third
this.
thing.
We've been expecting this for years.
Yeah, for years. We've been excited. The visuals have been stunning. Remember the one with the big horn? Everybody's like, "Wow, what is that? We gotta take a look at that."
I
Fortunately,
don't remember that.
we haven't seen
I
it
don't
yet.
remember that. I don't remember that at all.
Oh man, it burnt the internet up, bro. It was like on fire, you know, like with kerosene and gasoline at the same time.
Must have burned the chat room up. But aside of that, I don't recall that at all. Anyway,
So back to the movie. Hey, this basic movie is, a standard. Our main character here, she is on a faraway moon. They're fighting this evil militaristic kingdom. I don't know why you call it kingdom. When you have multiple planets under you, we should be an emperor, but there's a kingdom that basically is just taking over the universe and,
I'm
and
gonna help you
subjugating
out. I'm gonna
everybody.
help you out. I'm gonna help you out. Okay,
Help
you
me
should have
out.
got this already. Because this is what you've been planning for years now. It's called the fascist regime. There you go.
I'm not going to be using the word fascist because there's too much connotations, but militaristic, as I said. And here we basically have, she was once part of that military faction from the mother planet, I guess. And so she is now trying to rebel. She's fighting. They're about to take over a planet called Belt that she lives on. And she knows that when they come, they're going to take everything. So she's like, we got to basically fight, right? Of course she didn't want to do it, but they were going to rape a poor girl. So they were like, yo, she starts killing them. And that's how it starts off. And then we start into the Seven Samurai, where she starts looking for help throughout the universe to fight back off the bad guys. She looks for a rebel general. She looks for anybody who can help, a prince, and then you also have I guess a rebel group continue. So that's the basic of this particular story. The question is, it any good? So I'm going to push you on to our boy Petey. Petey, tell us what you thought of the show going forward.
Okay. So one of the
I hope
things.
one last thing before you start. Just remember their ground rules here, so please stick to the ground rules that we've prearranged for this particular video. Right?
I've been calling this the Zack Snyder. I'm taking my ish back. He's like, because obviously he did go into the Lucasfilm and he presented his ideas, and even though they didn't use him as director, it kind of feels like all this stuff was kind of in the Force Awakens and Rogue One, and even the twists that.
Dune,
No, I mean that stuff, but but the twist that's in
Magnificent Seven.
Oh wait, let me just get through my stuff first, okay? Good lord! But the twist that they ultimately had in the Last Jedi that came up. So ultimately, one thing I have to say as a fault is that Zack Snyder's zombies move really fast, and his action heroes move very slow. So it's like, in the same time, his pacing for the action was extremely slow for the slow stuff, like the slow plot. So it kind of put me to sleep a couple times. Since you're at home watching on Netflix, when you get to the lulls in the movie and you fall out, there was two for me in the movie. One early on. No, I got for a while. I think by the second or third person they picked up, I fell out. Then I almost fell out again. But by the end, it was, pretty exciting. I'd like the other problem is there's a lot of people I already knew. So even though I did like Dijon Hanzu, I enjoyed seeing him. There was other people that I had seen in other things, like the person who's like the farmer who's in there. I've seen him in a bunch of things. So I wish there's kind of a new face that I'd never seen before. But otherwise, it's a fun sort of thing. It does have its issues. It is stuff we've seen before, but when it gets to the end, I like the whole end fight and that sort of thing. And the end twist, even though it was something that had to happen because these characters some of them were too good to be true. So we had a twist. It was cool how they set them up, and it looked like they were finished. And then, of course, we get our moment with our farmer, and then action ensues. But it's not over, and they had a twist with the villain too. So, and some of the costuming for the villains were kind of like the Star Trek Nazis. They're just like, yo, do a little more on the villain outfits. But I really was impressed with the robot, even though he wasn't in there that much. That was cool. Even though that was also his storyline was a little very stilted. The characterization and how it moved, that sort of thing, kind of sold me on it. So otherwise, it was okay. I can just say that my opinion of it, it was okay. It's definitely watchable. I like Sophia. She's been good in everything I've seen in her in. So yeah, even though I didn't like Mummy, she was the best part of the Mummy. So let's see what happens in the next one. That we need to see some new stuff when we get to the next one. We allowed this, you took back your stuff. Now when we get to this next one, because on Netflix, there's no reason not to watch it. You give me some new stuff that we ain't seen before. So that's
Okay, hey Cal, what's your take on it?
Oh, it's not a good story. There's a bunch of stuff in there to like. A lot of I think he did a good job of choosing the actors because these are fan favorite actors. But everybody I saw, I've seen in something else. Like, oh yeah, he's cool, she's cool. But if you're gonna do something, if it's gonna be character driven, then I've got to be able to connect to the character. I'm not connected to any of these people. So, and for the large part, this is character driven. Her backstory isn't compelling, and then it dragged. The first 25 minutes of this, it took a long time for it finally started to get it up and running, and it got up with the same trite, hackneyed storyline. Oh, I don't want to do anything, but now something happens, so I got to get involved. So, it's interesting because he likes to borrow from established storylines. You got the whole thing with you got Campbell, you have the Joseph Campbell stuff going on with refusing the call. Then we want to do seven. Then we want to do Seven Samurai. We got a little bit of Dune, a little bit of Star Wars, Magnificent Seven, all of this type of stuff, and he still can't put together a competent story. There were several parts in this where the story should have been over, where there was no reason for the story to continue, should have been over. But that's where the visuals come in. You get sucked in by, oh wow, that looks cool, and this looks good. Let's see how this is all executed, and you can get flim-flammed into believing that that should have actually taken place based on what we've seen at this point. I think the biggest thing was, well, you saw it's telegraphed a mile away, okay, that Kai's going to betray the group. You see that coming. Okay, they're all betrayed. And they're not even betrayed in a manner where I could believe they could escape because the harnesses that they got those guys in, I was like, man, this is gonna be pretty tough. How are they gonna get out of this one? And then he says, okay, I want you to do it. I'm like, oh, well, let me guess. He's gonna do something really quick, and somehow she's gonna get free. Yeah, I was like, oh, come on. You had these dudes dead to rights, and you're gonna let him do it? No, don't let him do it. You do it. It makes no sense at this point. But then we get we get the rest of it. I was surprised that what's his name? Blood Axe, Ray Fisher's character, Blood Axe. I was surprised that he makes the ultimate sacrifice in part one. I was actually looking. I love the voice work he was doing with that character. Now he's gone. I'm like, okay. And then you have the big fight scene with the big villain in the first half. And so I was like, he's gonna come back and fight her again, but he already lost the first time. Why should we expect him to win the second time when this guy has cybernetic implants and was still not able to beat her? So like, I look at the whole thing and say, look, this guy's got a lot going for him in terms of his actors, in terms of the fact that he can create some really nice visuals, which everybody has said about Zack Snyder's work. It's fun to look at, but he cannot put together a competent story. Hasn't been able to do that for some time. He still has his fans regardless, but the story just is not there.
Wow. I gotta say, on my end, it's in terms of the review. I think that yes, you're right. He had a lot of different elements put into this particular movie, and Zack Snyder basically divides audiences, right? But the question always comes down to the work. Was it enjoyable? Did you enjoy it? Did you find it entertaining in a time period? And I got to say, I always break. That's how I usually review things. At the very end, was I entertained? And in this, I was entertained. There were issues that I think that existed without a doubt, but this is setting up a whole new universe, a whole new setup of things. So I'm probably a little bit more forgiving on some of those things. But in terms of
it's not the first time in history that somebody's liked a bad story. That's me as well.
And I
You know,
get that.
that's
But what I'm
that's
trying to
neither
say
here
is,
nor there. The guy can't tell a good story.
well, continue. I think that one, I don't think we've seen the whole story. I mean, he like right here, PD has put up in front of us that there's going to be an R-rated version of director's cut. It's probably going to be, of course, yes, longer, but probably will be able to bring in some of the elements that we didn't
So it's
see
gonna be
before.
longer with cursing and nudity.
I'm not sure what it would what it entail, but
Well, hopefully the second part. The
I
cursing is
like the
not a
cat.
big deal.
I do like the cast. I do like the stunning visuals, but I like the fact it's a new world. This was his take on the whole. What would happen if he did his own version,
Um,
of Star Wars, right?
I don't know about this being a new world, buddy. Reminds me of a few worlds we've seen before.
We've seen a lot of these worlds, right? But I'm just saying it's hard to do things like that. But I think as time goes on and develops, as we see the more director's cut, we see the second movie, and also they're doing a whole bunch of different things too in media. Like right now, they're gonna have a comic book starting in January about the Blood Axe. Darian and his sister, right? I guess
Mhm.
how they formed, how they got together. So yes, while it was sad that Ray Fisher ends up dying right
Yes,
away, the fact that he's going to
yeah. Shame,
continue.
shame he got killed. Why do I need to read the comic now? And
Well, clearly his sister's going to be involved in the second one. I think she's going to come with the rest of the Blood Axes, right? So she's going to be involved. That may be their or part of their military arm. You know, I find like I don't have a problem with the initial bad guy. What was his name? Dying because I mean, and getting resurrected again. I have no problem with that because we've seen that before. We think the bad guy is out and down, but he's come back. But the main
do
bad
you
guy,
think he should have lost that fight? You think he should have lost that fight to the lead? To the lead, knowing that he's got cybernetic implants in him. She stabbed him in the leg, and he screamed out in pain. The dude's got cybernetic implants. Shouldn't have bothered him.
well, I guess it must be more sensitive cybernetic implants. But with the lead,
I
she
can't believe. Whoa,
became
whoa,
a
wait, no, no,
companion.
I'm not letting. No, 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 not letting you get away with that one right over
But
there.
what
You
what's
explain to me that what is it? What is the sense in having a cybernetic implant and it makes you more sensitive? It makes you stronger. That's why it's a cybernetic implant.
no? It can do a whole bunch of different things. You can have it make you stronger. It can also make you, more sensitive with your hands. That you're able to pick
Your
up.
bones,
Also,
your bones are now metal,
we are
as
reading too
opposed
much into it. This is
as
a
opposed
different
to
universe.
as opposed to being as opposed to calcium. Okay, that's
Well,
stronger.
It's
Somebody
We're
stabs you
looking
with
too much
somebody
into
stabs
this. There's a
metal.
there's a bit of suspension of disbelief. I'm
no,
trying to
no,
say.
wait, no. I hear you got. I hear. The thing of it is, they did try to do a thing where he doesn't know all this stuff, but at the same time, he is how Cal described. So even though they try to set it up where you see that the character's stronger, some of the extra breaking really shouldn't matter because ultimately he is, unless they put in the fake action in his head so he doesn't know that he's all this, but then you'd be surprised that he's even in pain. So it's like it's too great for you to understand to be like it's a good reveal that he's someone that's restarted and reborn and all that stuff because it is as you said, but at the same time, then it makes you ask more questions. You have to say, well, is he gonna get killed, beat up, punched in the face, and feel it? When we know underneath it is like not much left, not left. We don't know how much of him is in there, So
Well, I mean, I guess we have the whole giant.
Remember,
We have the whole
hey,
robot.
one sec. Sorry, one sec. Because remember, they have the fight, and then he falls off that air buoy, and you think he's dead, but we see, okay, he's alive. Part of the reason why we're going to believe or suspend disbelief that he's alive is because of those implants that we're seeing. They're like, oh, that's how he survived because he's got those things. Oh, wait a minute. If he's got those things and it kept him from dying, shouldn't he have been able to successfully, win this fight? And that's the line that you straddle. Now, a lot of the people who enjoy Snyder's work will fill in the blanks and they connect those synapses in terms of where his storytelling falls short. But that's a glaring example of the story falling short. Also, he's the guy who's supposed to be coming back to attack the village, and he's dead for all intents and purposes for the hero. But they still went back like, okay, we got to keep these guys from coming back. Who's coming back? It was him.
He's coming back with not just himself, but more resources to try and tackle this particular village or moon.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to see that most likely in number 2. And if it's a successful franchise, we'll probably see. But let's not let go of the whole thing that the big bad is Belisarius, right? Belisarius basically kills the king, his daughter and the queen, and takes over as the regent, you know. And so therefore he's running the whole thing, and he's the one who is basically the mentor, the father figure to our main character. What's her name? What's the main character's name? Cora, right? So he's the big bad to Cora. I mean, he's her, and to remember what they said, she gets very good at fighting. You know, she becomes an officer at a very early age. She becomes one of the lead guardians of the princess, and the princess. The whole
Do
the
we
whole
care?
thing with the princess is that the empire has been expanding so much using force to conquer the whole universe. But
Yeah, do we
the
care?
king and queen are hoping that what would happen is that the daughter, now that I think she can reanimate life or bring something back to life, that she would start ruling from a different perspective. And our boy
Yes,
Belisarius
but
goes in and says,
but
"Nah, man,
but do we care about this lead character? She gave us all this backstory about what happened to her as a kid. We've seen this story before. We know about the orphan hero. She gets raised by the enemy. So we've got the reverse idol going on.
Gamora."
Did you actually care about this character? What the fortunes of this character may be?
I
I
did.
didn't.
I did.
Why?
I cared about
Why?
it.
Why?
I,
Why?
I felt that someone who was confronting the truth of what she was living and realized she didn't like it anymore, and she wanted to break off and do her own thing. She wanted to be left alone, basically. But
Mhm.
because of her skill sets, because of what her knowledge of this particular type of enemy, she had to get involved, right? And so I kind of liked it. I don't have a problem with that. We also have the character with Anthony Hopkins, who plays the that robot. What is it, Jimmy?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm interested in finding out more about that. What the heck is going on with that?
Well, that
Um,
might be the next twist, but
yeah,
it might be a twist that's kind of ridiculous, but hopefully it's not what I think it is. But um,
It's not ridiculous already.
I'm saying like not saying that I'm saying that because they've stopped, so they must have saw something that really shocked them as robots, but they're robots. So what would really if they're really
The robot
proficient in what they
was
did?
standing.
So
The robot was standing in the field with the homemade crown made.
yep.
That was the ending of the movie, just standing there at the end of the day. And I'm looking like, what? That was so odd. It was just
it
there from
was.
out of
It
nowhere.
was.
It was just odd. Okay, but again, it, I do believe a lot of the people who enjoy Snyder's work connect all the stuff, or like Mars is doing here, builds up a lot of it builds up a lot of excitement to see how these odd things are going to play out in part two or whatever may have you, so they can speculate and go rabbit holing with it. For me, it doesn't just doesn't work.
You
So
went. I
for
think
me,
Mars. You went too far in your telling of the character. Like some, you could just like the lead and just want to see the next one. It's like, oh, she was cool. I mean, she's a little over. You could tell she was part of something because she's a little overdeveloped to be the farmer. She may be the only farmhand to be that diesel out there in the farm. Like everyone else is looking like
He
they only
was
pick up
he was
water.
the only one Diesel.
And they only can pick up water. And no, the lead guy, the guy from Ant-Man and Billions, he could be. His beard was the heaviest thing that he was carrying around. That she was just like coming in there. Like obviously you've been through stuff. A supermodel that's been through something terrible, but at the same time she's a character that I like. You like what you like. It's like Magneto being the hero. He's like it don't make no sense, but he's cool. That's it.
Yeah, I always say you can like whatever you like. Okay, if it doesn't hold up to scrutiny, it doesn't hold up to scrutiny. But hey, you can still like it. Not a big problem.
hey,
I,
and
I only take issue with people who I would take the only thing I ever take issue with when it's something that's clearly bad. It's clearly bad, doesn't hold up to any scrutiny, and people are still going to try to twist and contort and to make it something that's actual quality. Like no, but you don't. It doesn't have to be a quality for you to like it.
right, and then, you're right. I mean, like I said, there were issues. Clearly, there are issues with the whole what was going on, but overall, I think it was good. I mean, look, the very fact that Kai died right away, that threw me off. This guy Charles Hunan is Charlie Hunan is being billed as like the next big leading man in a lot of shows and stuff. And right off the bat, they killed this dude. I'm like, oh, probably here's a Han Solo guy, that she's going to probably kick. But no, it seems to be Gunnar. Gunnar. Who
F
would expect?
all of
I didn't
that.
expect.
F all
I
of
didn't.
that. I'm sorry to cut you off. Titus. I looked at it and said, that was up to T'Chaka. That was T'Chaka. These are just like, that is T'Chaka. Like, I was like, why isn't Dijon Hansu in the first Black Panther movie? as the
You mean
younger T'Chaka.
as opposed to the other actor they chose for the T'Chaka, who looked like he was ready
Yes.
for the retirement home? Yeah.
Not the old, not the. I'm not talking about. I don't want to touch
Father.
the same age. I'm talking about the when he was young and he comes back and he kills the guy. I wanted.
No, I wanted Dijman Hanzu for the older T'Chaka at the end of the day. Even if that, you could have said he was whatever age. I just never believed that T'Chaka would let himself get out of shape like that. I was just like, oh.
Well, I'm just thinking of because when I met T'Chaka's only on a couple pages in the original story, and I bought that one, the back issue from one of those comics. He probably Ralph, what's the name of him? Ralph Avenue Comics, and it was just like this
hey,
golden. But yeah, I saw him in this, and he was like, "We got extra diesel in there. How did this happen?" T'Chaka, yes.
No. Like, hey, I saw the movie. We finally get to see Black or the Civil War. And you see T'Chaka, you're like, that's T'Chaka, really? He's like, oh, well, he's not Black Panther anymore. I was like, he was like, oh, it's all yours now, son. That's that bucket of chicken. It was just like,
Wow.
no. I would have loved to see
Lord.
Digimon there. No, I couldn't believe somebody who had been both king. He's the head of state, but he's also the head of the Panther cult as well. And that means hey, you're still a fighter and such. And for him to like, man, he just really let himself go. I was like, okay, all right, cool.
Well, I mean, Chadwick. I mean, he always looked younger, so it could have worked. I don't have a problem with that. But any way we could get T'Chaka in there with Dijon Hansu in there, I'd be happy with. But that's a little side. It was great to see him. He was and he's been showing up, but now he'll be in something where he'll get to do some more stuff. He's so that was cool. I just like it's hard to see the Gunner guy because he's in a bunch of Apple TV stuff, and he's in this like military thing where he it kind of gets soft towards the end, and he's also in the Stewardess movie. So it's like I've seen this guy, and so I really wanted some faces with that I didn't know coming into this, but at the same time, it was your cast of guy from Billions. He's in there, and it's just like you could put the guy you were talking about who turns on them. Like some of these people we've seen a lot of. Oh, the other thing. Sorry, what's up? You go.
Yeah, but I mean, so Dijon Hansu actually played T'Challa in
But you talking about in the cartoon?
Cartoon, so
Okay, yeah.
which is an interesting connection. But this guy is so busy. I mean, he's in what 2 to 3 movies every single year.
He deserves it.
So, I mean,
all the work he needs, everything. Give him everything he wants. Oh, we can't. I got to talk about the last Zack Snyder element. I know it's not in every movie. I can't say that's a total lie. But one of his favorite things is Frank Miller. And when we saw the lightsabers, and we said, "Oh, he's doing lightsabers." No, he's doing the futuristic Elektra. Like this, like totally Elektra. It's like, all right, I got my Elektra here. Even though Elektra has a size, he's like, I'm doing my Elektra. This assassin but they tried to add some funky stuff with the arms and whatnot. He's got his Elektra going on in here. He had a little bit of red.
I was like, what's the sense of having those type of energy swords and they don't cut through anything? It's like you go over here and it's like the bone is stronger. It's like, come on.
I think this was more like an introduction to different characters. Clearly, we won't see the team aspect of it until the second movie.
Oh, dude, no, it wasn't good. It's just bad, man. It's just bad. I get people gonna like it. Snyder has a very strong, very dedicated following, so he can do this type of
I'm
stuff.
not an apologist.
And there's an audience.
I'm not an apologist.
And there's an audience for it.
I think that this movie may not have done as well in the U.S. as it could have, but I guarantee you, once the network, the Netflix writing's going, I guarantee it's going to do pretty well outside the United States. Because I think people are gonna like, all right, cool, we're gonna like this. We're gonna see this is pretty good. So, yeah, United States, we have there's a visceral like of what Zack Snyder does or doesn't do, right? And you're right, there is quote unquote Zack Snyder apologist, but there's a bunch of people who just hate him and don't give him a chance. Could this movie have been better? I think you're right. Is this an A movie? Is this something that should get an Oscar? No. Is it an enjoyable flick that you can just put on and watch and take it. And yes, I think it is. The visuals, Jack Snyder, like you said, there's nothing about the visuals. Now, guys, let's talk about the characters, okay? What did you
Do
guys
we
think?
have to? I
Walk
think
right
I
into
think we're
that
good,
one.
right?
No, we can.
I think we're good. We can just
no,
move
we can
on.
talk
We
about
can
the
move on to do
characters.
something more enjoyable.
We can. We got people here. Go to what you want to talk about with the characters, please.
Okay.
Was there any standout for you guys in terms of the whole show and how
No.
the person portrayed or how they handled their character?
For me, it was obviously I said Titus, I said the robot. Obviously, I'm a fan of Cora, and I guess it's tough. Yeah, Blood Axe was. I mean, the hard part is the same thing for like I'm going for. Like we have Star Wars was like perfect in how it put this team together because what's name was coming in there for the money, so you knew why Han Solo was there. Chewie was already with Han Solo, but throughout the movie, his ties is just money, right? So that's what keeping him here. Everything.
And Chewie was awesome.
Hmm?
No, I said and Chewie was awesome.
So, but you had this time. This, like I would go to like the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. There's no real reason why this group. Obviously, we need to see more years of the. No, I mean Star Wars showed you how it hits the same notes as Star Wars, the original Star Wars movie. But Star Wars showed you how the Death Star felt like they're just a planet destroying piece. Now they did cool visuals showing you them on the planet and shooting down the planet, and then they're leaving the planet at the same time. Those visuals and then coming to seeing them from the was it the landing thing strip saw come up, that sort of thing. Those are cool visuals, but it didn't feel like these guys been going from planet to planet destroying something. They did have the history. They did it as much as they could with flashbacks, but you see with Star Wars, they did it with having a ship that looks pretty big and then a huge monstrous ship right behind it. So it said, "Oh, these guys have been coming," and it gave you this umph to it. So I think that's what was missing to make you feel like these villains and the idea of a dreadnought, this planet this ship that's coming around and destroying planets, which is a great idea, just need to somehow shorten it and make it visual enough so you can feel that portion of it. So I would say the robot, Jimmy, Cora, Titus, those are my favorite characters, and I have to say those Blood Axe characters were cool. But at the same time, I knew they were going to be cannon fodder. Oh, all you guys are there, y'all gonna get mowed down. But you gotta have people feel it in the audience, and I'll give a nod. They're fun, but it's just the glue to keep them together is the problem with it. So
interesting. Did not think about that.
So we know Cal has issues. So why don't you say the characters that called out to you, and then maybe Cal have maybe one character.
Don't worry, Cal will definitely get a taste. Don't worry.
To say he's got a long pause. Say it, man. Say something, man.
So surprising. I think one of the things that surprised me, and it may not amount to anything in the next few, was the very fact of Jimmy. I don't know. It just like, what is Jimmy? It just kept on coming to me like, who or what is it? Of course, it's Anthony Hopkins' voice, right? So it's like, right off the bat, it catches you. Like, why is he not fighting? What is going on? And of course, we all know that most likely in the end, the robot is going to probably end up fighting for Cora's side. That was
for real. That's the character. That's the character that interests you most.
For me, it was.
No,
Johnny Five Short Circuit is the one that interests you the most.
But then also the other one, probably the number one, is Belisarius.
Who's Johnny?
I always like it. I think a movie can't work without a really good antagonist. And the antagonists are who help to bring any movie up to the level of an entertaining thing. And I think Belisarius is enough of a how can I say a person who feels righteousness in his own right, and what he's doing, whether or not it causes some problems for others out there, including Cora.
It felt like that bit they used in The Force Awakens with the guy above what's the name? Snow, yeah, Snow. That I mean, not the look, but the whole him kind of being this presence that they go to another realm to see. And I was just like, man, he must have sat through Force Awakens saying he used everything in my pitch. God, they stole everything. All right, but but I hear you. All right, all right.
All right. So hey, any more? Anything we're gonna say?
Oh, what are you talking about? I thought this was a down the line. Sam got some, you got
You did
some,
a
and now you're
shack.
gonna try to come over here and scoot out. Nah, I'm gonna hit every single one of these. I'm gonna hit every single one of these stock figures. They're gonna go characters, starting with the lead.
Okay.
Oh no, I thought you. No, I didn't think you were gonna let me do it. I thought you were gonna tell me, no, please don't.
Let's hear it. We want the people
Well,
to hear how you are.
okay, and being as gentle as I can, they're stock characters. There's no reason for me to be invested in any of them. The lead is a stock character, and everybody she meets going through there, the stock character as well. Most of them are what? They're Ronin at the end of the day. But you have the failed general, okay? You've got the assassin. You have the lovable rogue. You got the lovable rogue in what's that? Charlie Human. Hi.
Yeah.
Okay, they're all stock characters at the end of the day. The girl with the secret, all of them. So if you're going to make this a character driven story, which again I just don't understand it. If you wanted to do Campbell is literally a paint by numbers type of story. You do this, you do this, you do that, and it'll work. That's Star Wars. All you have to do. Okay, we need to have this scene right here. We got to have this. And it just a matter of execution. And he's not able to do it. Okay, so let's go to the characters. None of these characters, none of them. I remember she's telling her backstory, and I could care less. You're talking about the antagonist, and I agree that this guy could be a suitable antagonist. But the moment that he sent the other dude, after having already failed, that he told him, "Look, I want you to go get my daughter and bring him back." I'm like, so this guy's just going to end up being tortured. We already know this. He's not. We already know that she's not going to be able to get taken out because she's been in situations where there's like 6, 7, 8 guys with laser blasters all firing at her, and nobody can touch her while she's moving in slow motion. So that whole scene right there was like, okay, this guy's not equipped. This guy's not equipped to get this particular thing done. You've got to have a character that is compelling. You also need to have a character that's going to connect with your audience. I'm not going to connect with a 5'2" female who's running all around doing this stuff. That's just not going to happen. I'm also not going to connect with the 6 foot guy who's a farmer who's with her, who looks like he's about to get raped unless she defends him. I'm not connecting with him either. And then all the other characters come out. I thought the best character was the dude who was like the take on the Noble Savage, where he goes and he rides the Griffin.
Yeah.
He goes and rides the Griffin. But even in that scene, I was like, see, that could have been. I mean, and again, the visual almost makes you stop thinking. But then I'm looking at the whole thing, and this guy's like, yeah, let's show him that we are not afraid, and this, that, and the other. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? You just got on this thing and you're flying. Now that you guys are friends, kill all those guys, kill all those guys, and leave. That thing's free and you're free. You don't have to bring that thing back at all. So, if you're going to base this on characters, the characters need to be compelling in some fashion that the audience wants to connect with them. But I'm realizing, based on what you said, Mars, and I think you got something here, that you don't have to, with the Snyder work, you don't have to connect to traditional things. You don't have to connect to a good story, and you don't have to connect to compelling characterization or setting. As long as you connect to those visuals, this can be a very enjoyable experience for you. And I think that's what a lot of people come in for Snyder stuff, those visuals. And if those visuals hit, then it's been an enjoyable thing for them. That's just not enough for me. But I think going forward, I'll try to relax some of the things that I expect, from a good film, and see if I can just go ahead and enjoy it strictly for the visual.
That's good to hear. Wow, I think I've turned him. You hear that, Petey? You're next.
that didn't happen. All right, so predictions.
Predictions is I think it's
part 2 will suck as bad as part 1.
I think there's going to be it's in the Netflix just spent over $160 million to do both movies, right? Because I think they did them back to back, and they have the director's cut.
And
coming out.
that's
So they're
cheap.
yeah, relatively cheap for but that's how much they spent. So I'm thinking that they're going to do everything they can to turn this around because this is something that they gave to him based on that they thought that he could bring a particular audience. Remember, he has a strong international audience base that comes out for him, particularly in Latin America. So I expect this to do pretty well, be number one in a lot of different places. Okay.
Well,
I'm interested to see what happens in number two. Let's see. I would love to see what the directors cut it, see how much it explains what was missing, and then the same thing goes with
we're predicting
You're really gonna watch the director's?
this.
You're really gonna watch the director's cut?
well, dude, it's like the same thing with Ridley Scott all the time. Ridley Scott, if you don't really watch the director's cut, you kind of miss what he's trying to say to you sometimes.
How many Ridley Scott movies have you watched the director's cut and it made it a better movie?
The Blade Runner, the Kingdom of Heaven.
No, Blade Runner was already a good movie.
It made it better with the director's cut.
Okay, did you see the director's cut for Prometheus?
I haven't seen Prometheus at all, so I have no reference.
And you never will. And you never will.
That was a setup. We walk right into that one. They're predicting the success, predicting of what part two is going to be. Any predictions?
It has to hit.
Part two, they're going to try to do. He's going to try and complete the whole cycle of Seven Samurai. The only problem is he's not going to be able to do that because he only has 6 people. Number one, and number two, he's not going to execute on the story. So we'll get a lot of the same stuff we saw before. We'll get the cool visuals. We will get the big fight scene because we got to have that big battle. We got to have that big battle with the people against the superior force, and they're going to do the guerrilla tactics, and they'll be able to win. And they'll be able to win out somewhere there. That's pretty much what I would expect. The ending, we won't get a happy ending. So we're not going to get anybody. People get to live good lives. We might get one character that gets developed a little bit better than the others, but that character is going to get killed. Expect that to happen. But they'll win in the end. We'll definitely see a scene with that guy being tortured while everybody hears his screams because that was already foreshadowed in part one. And the lead will probably do the old Shane thing and ride off into the sunset onto the next adventure that, if we're lucky, will never come.
Well, for me, I'm going for. We're gonna find out who the real killer of the family is, and of course, as they already set up in this, it's got to be one of these people. So it's probably going to be Cora, and that's what probably going to be the emphasis of why the robot is so in shock of the shutting down or who knows what. But I'm going for Cora. I'm calling it here. Stamp that in. Let's close it out.
Wow, I was not expecting that one. Cora, yo, jeez. You're basically turning everything around. So why would Cora do it? Because she killed her family?
No, I'm saying it's just a twist. I'm just putting that in. I'm documenting it right now.
All right, cool.
Like my Wimby documentation.
Holding you to it. Okay. Any last words?
And you saying you want to bet on it? Because I already called Mark Wade. I called Wimby. What else? You want to go for it? This is my third one. You want to bet? No, I'm kidding. All right, close it out.
Iraq.
Out.
We're out.